Aus dem Wettbewerb von Sundance kommt Josephine zu uns. Er erhielt dort den großen Preis der Jury und den Publikumspreis. Vielleicht gute Zeichen für Berlin. Die amerikanische Regisseurin Beste Araujo berichtet darin von einer erschütternden Erfahrung. Die 8-jährige Josephine und ihr Vater Damien werden im Park Zeuge einer Vergewaltigung. Während der Vater, gespielt von Channing Tatum, keinen emotionalen Zugang zu dem verstörten Kind findet, sucht Josephine ihren eigenen Ausweg. Sie will verstehen, was sie gesehen hat und welche Rolle sie bei der Suche nach Gerechtigkeit spielt. Ein bewegendes Drama über eine schreckliche Erfahrung, die ein Leben prägen wird. Hier ist die Pressekonferenz zu Josephine.
All right, if everyone could please sit down. Okay, last photo. Thank you. Thank you. Please sit down. Thank you, photographers. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 76th Berlinale. I'm Jacqueline Lienga, co-director of film programming here at the Berlinale. And we are thrilled to be presenting the international premiere of Josephine in competition. I know most, maybe some or most of you have seen the film. When we saw the film, we were really moved, you know, and it was a film that stayed with us. We had a lot of conversations, so I know there will be a lot of questions today. So I'm going to get started by introducing the team that's here with us today, starting at the far end of the table with actor Syra McCarthy. Oh, sorry, Syra, sorry. And next to Syra McCarthy, we have actor Philip Ettinger. And next to him, we have actor Gemma Chan. And next to her, we have actor Channing Tatum. And you may have seen our director's first film, Soft and Quiet, which premiered, yes, exactly, and premiered at Sundance, and she returned to Sundance this year with Josephine and won both the Jury Grand Prize, the U.S. Jury Grand Prize, and the Audience Award. Please help me welcome the director, Beth G. Aruj. Well, I'll start with a question that I'm sure you've been asked, but I would love for you to talk to us about, Beth, the origins of the story, the genesis of the story. I understand it's very personal to you.
Yeah, so it is based on an event, a memory that I have when I was 8 years old. my father and I interrupted a sexual assault in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. And I just wanted to take the hypervigilance I was left with after that day and explore it through the eyes of an 8-year-old girl the whole time. Kind of exploring both the intersection of unreasonable hypervigilance and reasonable fear that we have walking through the world. So that was the birth of Josephine.
And I guess in terms of deciding to make the film now, what did you feel now as opposed to 5 years ago or as your first film?
Oh, I've been trying for 12 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It was supposed to be my first feature. I was at the Sundance Directors Lab with it, and it has to be your first feature film that you go to the labs with. However, given the subject matter, it was incredibly challenging to piece together. And so I think, and Gemma was attached to it then, and then I shot Soft and Quiet, and I was lucky enough to then meet this wonderful human who signed on, and then we could go make the movie. So that's why it took 12 years.
We'll start with questions. Yes.
Yeah, hello to everybody. My name is Mark Karapetya. I'm founder and publisher of culture magazine Spirit, the Smile and the Storm. You really touched my heart, and this film is a masterpiece. For me, the best film of Berlinale 2026, and I watched many. I mean, honest. But before I ask a question about Josephine, I have the chance also to talk to Channing, and I just want to say I love your film, Dog. And you inspired me. I will write a book about my Siberian wolfdog husky, Felix. Yeah, it's true, but it's a tragic story too. So aren't dogs the better human beings? And my question, this is a question to Channing and to all of you on stage. Great lines in the film. Fear is not a real thing, I remember. How can we help these traumatized children? Do you have an idea? Yeah, to all of you. The question goes.
Sorry, I just want to clarify the question. How do we dramatize children in film?
How do we help?
How do we traumatize?
How do we help?
How do you help?
How do we deal with their...
How can we help them?
Okay.
Listen.
As honestly as you can possibly do it. I don't really know. Every single story is different. Every single character is different. Every single storyteller is going to approach it from a completely different angle. Beth's is a very personal one. And I think every single storyteller will come at it from a very different point of view. That's just the way stories are told. So I don't think there is a way other than to try to do it as honestly as you possibly can from the storyteller's eyes and their heart and their point of view. I'm not sure if I answered your question at all, but that was my answer.
Hello, I am Adriana Möller-Riemke from Topicus magazine here. Yes, thank you for this wonderful film. And I have a question to you, Betty de Araújo. And you have Brazilian roots. And I ask you, if you do you follow the growing film industry there? And have you ever thought about making a film in Brazil? Thank you.
Oi, tudo bem? My dad is from Goiânia. He was recruited to school in the United States for a running scholarship and then met my mom. So my whole half of that family still lives in Brazil. My dad is the only one in the United States. So yes, I am half Brazilian. And yeah, I follow Brazilian directors very closely. I watch all their films. I could see shooting in Brazil one day if I am so lucky, yeah.
Hello, it's Natalia Zhuk, Carta Berlin and Accent UK. First of all, thank you for the movie. I've heard a lot of it and I had huge expectations, but it exceeded all the huge expectations. And my question is to the whole team, basically, in such a complex topic, which is so psychologically charged, do you have the feeling that now, like, the society is a little bit better equipped with dealing with it than when this happened to you when you were a child? Or it's like the same problems, the same questions that we have to face? And also, is there a balance between letting children see all the sides of life, ugly sides included, and cotton wooling them to the extent so that they do not get traumatized early on? Like, just your opinion about that. Thank you.
It depends what country, I think, but I don't think we're better equipped to handle it now. I think maybe this week the UK is. Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to. Yeah.
That's a really loaded question. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer it either.
Okay, we'll move to the next question, please.
Hi, question here from Brazil, Rodrigo Fonseca, Correio da Manhã. Oi, parabéns. Two things, quick things. If you could say a bit, some words about your work with your cinematographer. How did you, this connection work to build up the visual we see? And if you could spare a few words about the research on the psychiatrical and psychological discussion that we see throughout the film. I think it should be a big study to build up the screenplay. If you could say a few words about that. Congratulations.
Thank you. And what was the first question again?
The research, psychiatry.
And then I thought that was the second one. Okay. So, I mean, I just sort of started with my own nature, and then at the same time I was writing it, I trained to become certified to be a witness advocate in hospitals for rape victims while they're doing their SART test. The cinematographer was the first question, right? Okay, and then after that, I was lucky enough to get the SF Film Rein-In grant, which is a development grant in the United States, which offered me the ability to watch a sexual assault case in the court from start to finish. And then I spoke a lot to parents, and I interviewed a child forensic officer. And Greta and I have known each other since the Sundance Directors Lab. Greta Zazula, who is our cinematographer. We shot our first film together, Soft and Quiet. She's a woman of very few words, and her images are very powerful. And she just has to show you what she means. And we have like a deep mutual respect for each other's commitment to the work, and I think she's brilliant. Yeah.
Hello, it's Yannis Raouzes from Athens, Greece. It was a remarkable film, and almost in the last day of the festival, eh? Great, great. Thank you all. I have to address a question to Mr. Tatum and another one to Ms. Araujo. First of all, how Ms. Araujo enabling Tatum's character to make his screen presence both as an anchor and as a question of empathy towards his daughter and of empathy towards his past and his life in the past. An empathy that has a profound existential orientation in my eyes. And secondly, when Damien fails to comfort Josephine with words, he cannot really express his feelings, the real thing to Josephine. What does the character physically, through his body language, express and telling us, especially for the limits of language and the boundless field of silence expression through this body language. Thank you.
I'll let Channing talk a lot about it, but I mean, I think our conversations early on, and because Channing has a daughter as well, you know, just it was, Damien is always coming from a place of deep, deep love and deep, deep protection in his own ways, based on how he survived. And I'll let him speak on how he thought about Damien a little bit more.
You're nailing it. Yeah, I have a 12-year-old. I was a 12-year-old at some point in my life as well, and thankfully I didn't have this event happen in my 12-year-old self. But I remember like my daughter when she was in preschool. I got called to school because my daughter got into a fight, and I remember being like, oh, no, like yeah, and I drove up, pulled up to school, and as I pulled in, the principal was actually like walking by, and I get out of the car, and she's like, hey, just want to tell you, I'm proud of Evie, my daughter. My daughter's name's Evie. I'm proud of Evie. I can't say that in there because we're not allowed, you know, we can't have fighting at the school, but she was sticking up for her friend, and she did tell the teacher. Apparently there was a boy that kept, you know, being very physical with them, and she told the teacher scolded the boy, and then eventually, like, the boy did something to her best friend. And then she spider monkey tackled this kid to the ground and bit his ear. and I'm in the office like, fuck yeah, like yeah. Then what happened? Like because I took her right to get ice cream right afterwards, because I was just like, I promise you, like that conversation that I had with Josephine underneath the bridge is a conversation that I've had with my daughter. You will never be in trouble with me if you protect yourself. If someone is doing something that you are asking them not to do and they don't listen, you have full right to protect yourself, and I will back you forever. And don't fuck with my daughter, because she listened, and then I promise you, like, yeah, she just doesn't suffer fools. And I don't know if that answers any of the question that you asked, but I don't know what the right answers are for raising children. I just have a daughter. I don't have a son. I thank God, actually, I didn't have a son first, because I don't think I'd have done it as well. I think my daughter's taught me so much softness and also so much like vulnerability that it's actually kind of scary and wild. And I got to explore the other version of this, which was like, I think Damien was like a very mix between myself and my own dad. And you know, I grew up at a different time, which was very different. So I'm not going to keep rambling, so sorry.
Okay, yes.
Hello, I have a question for the director. Well, as a law student, this must be the best and most impressive court scenes I've ever seen. And I want to know, how does the experience of being a witness influence your life value, and how do you organize the lens adjustment and perspective of children when on the court?
I'm so sorry. Can you say that? Well, I couldn't totally hear you. You were so far away.
Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, you said witness on the court influence your value, and how do you organize the lens and perspective of children in this movie?
Yeah, so it is based off an event. I didn't actually have to testify myself. My father did, and when I was doing research and I decided it really needed to be Josephine, who was the one that went up there while I was writing, I was shocked to find out that it's ages 5 and above. So while the film is fictional, it is factual. So I felt very committed to depicting the justice and legal system as it is.
Kira Müller, editor at Jung und Naiv. I have a question for Channing.
Sorry, can you speak up just a little bit more?
Sorry, I have a question for Channing. You must have surely seen the political debate about the festival this year. Have you considered signing the open letter by Hollywood artists who have criticized the festival for what they feel is a silencing campaign when it comes to solidarity with Palestine?
I don't even know what's happening exactly.
He's been on.
Oh, I think I didn't hear very much of what you said, but now I think I do.
Okay, thank you for your question, and we're happy to discuss with you afterwards. But I think we'll move to another question.
I'm the next one.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm press from Mexico, Brazil and Mexico. We are very close, but my first question is for you, Beth, and how could you work with that child? What was the challenge for you being part of this story and to guide a child? Or what the specific challenge for you with that little girl? And a question for the bad guy. And what was for you being and performing the really bad in the story? How could you manage that?
Phil, you go first. I'll go.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, unfortunately, this story is personal to me, as maybe a lot of people in this room. When Beth sent me the script, it was a situation where I was really moved by how it dealt with the trauma response from a child in a way that I've never read before, and I related to a lot. And it was one of those things where it was either I absolutely could not do it or I had to do it, but I had to meet with Beth, and then we had a really emotional and nuanced conversation. And I think for me, I almost felt ownership in needing to play this because it needed to be someone who was able to commit to tell the story accurately, but also who came from so much love and care. And it's impossible to describe, but the scene that we had together was obviously very choreographed like a dance, but it involves so much trust and love between Sarah and me. And it was just done so delicately and with so much love. So it was a thing where I have a personal relationship to the story, and I felt like an obligation to try to be a part of the purpose of what we were trying to do with the film.
A big part of that, Beth, too, is also how you make the invisible visible in this film. And can you talk about that in terms of when you were writing the script and as you shot it and thought about the visual language of her trauma?
Yeah, I was really, instead of using flashbacks, I really wanted it to be present because I felt like the looming sort of